What happens when betrayal meets revenge at the most inappropriate moment? Stay tuned to find out, and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking stories. Serafina stood in the rain outside the cemetery gates, her emerald dress clinging to her trembling frame. 6 months ago, she would never have imagined herself here, about to crash the funeral of the woman who once called her daughter. But Darian's words still echoed in her mind like a curse. "You'll never find anyone better than me, Sarah. You're too damaged, too broken." The funeral program in her hand was already soggy, but she could still make out the elegant script, celebrating the life of Evangeline Blackthorne. Darian's mother had been the only person in his family who'd shown her genuine kindness during their 3-year relationship. The irony wasn't lost on her that she was about to use Evangeline's final goodbye as the stage for her revenge. Her phone buzzed. A text from Kale. "Are you sure about this? We can still leave." She looked at the man sitting in the driver's seat of the black sedan, his storm grey eyes filled with concern. Kale Moreau, successful architect, devastatingly handsome, and completely devoted to her. Everything Darian had said she'd never find. "I'm sure," she whispered, though her voice cracked. The wound Darian had left on her soul was still fresh, still bleeding. Today, she would show him exactly how wrong he'd been. Today, she would make him understand that some words, once spoken, can never be taken back. She adjusted her engagement ring, a stunning sapphire that caught the light even in the gloom, and walked toward the chapel where her past waited to collide with her present. The chapel was packed with Darian's extended family, their whispered conversations creating a low hum of grief. Serafina slipped into the back row, Kale's steady presence beside her like an anchor. She spotted Darian immediately, his dark hair perfectly styled even in mourning, his expensive suit tailored to perfection. He looked exactly as she remembered, except for the hollow look in his eyes.
"Sera."
A soft voice made her turn. Lirelei, Darian's younger sister, stood in the aisle with tears streaming down her face. "I can't believe you came. After everything he said about you." Serafina's heart clenched. She'd expected anger, accusations, demands for her to leave. Instead, Lirelei's eyes held something else entirely: relief. "I know I shouldn't be here," Serafina whispered. "No, you should." Lirelei glanced toward her brother, then back at Serafina. "Mom asked about you, in her final weeks. She said you were the only one who ever made Darian better, and she was heartbroken when you left." The words hit Serafina like a physical blow. She'd left because she couldn't bear Darian's cruelty anymore, his constant criticism, his need to tear her down to build himself up. But she'd never known Evangeline had noticed. "She left you something," Lirelei continued, pressing a small wrapped package into Serafina's hands. "She made me promise to give it to you if you ever came back." Serafina's fingers trembled as she unwrapped the delicate tissue paper, revealing a locket she'd admired years ago. Inside was a photo of her and Evangeline from Christmas 2 years past, both laughing at something Darian had said, back when she still believed in their future. The service was beautiful, filled with stories of Evangeline's kindness and generosity. Serafina found herself crying, not for the pain she'd come to inflict, but for the woman who'd shown her what maternal love looked like. As the final hymn ended and people began filing out, she knew she couldn't go through with her original plan. But Darian found her first. "What the hell are you doing here?" His voice was low, dangerous. The other mourners gave them a wide berth, sensing the tension crackling between them. "Today, of all days, you show up to parade your new boyfriend around." "I came to pay my respects," Serafina said quietly, her hand instinctively moving to the locket at her throat. "Your mother meant a lot to me." "Don't." Darian's face twisted with fury. "Don't pretend you cared about her. You left without a word, broke her heart just like you broke mine." "I broke your heart." The words escaped before she could stop them. "You told me I was worthless, that I'd never find anyone who could tolerate my issues. You said I was too damaged to love." Kale stepped forward, his jaw tight. "That's enough." Darian's eyes shifted to him, taking in the expensive watch, the confident posture, the way Kale's hand rested protectively on Serafina's back. "So this is him. The rebound. This is my fiancé, Serafina said, the words coming out stronger than she felt. Kale Moreau. The name hit Darian like a slap. Kale Moreau, the architect whose name was plastered on half the luxury developments in the city. The man Darian had always claimed was overrated, too successful for his own good. The irony was perfect and terrible. As the crowd dispersed, Serafina noticed a woman she didn't recognize hovering near the cemetery gates. Tall and elegant, with silver hair that caught the dying light, she seemed to be watching the proceedings with keen interest. When their eyes met, the woman approached. "You must be Serafina," she said, her voice carrying a slight accent. "I'm Celestine Ravencrest. I was a friend of Evangeline's." Something in the way she said friend made Serafina's pulse quicken. This woman knew something, held some secret that felt important. "I'm sorry for your loss," Serafina said carefully. Celestine's smile was sad but knowing. "Evangeline spoke of you often. She was worried about you, especially after you left Darian. She said you deserved to know the truth." "What truth?" Before Celestine could answer, Darian appeared at Serafina's elbow, his face pale. "Celestine, I didn't expect to see you here." "Didn't you?" Celestine's eyes were sharp as glass. "Your mother was my dearest friend. Of course I'd be here to see her laid to rest. Though I must say, I'm surprised you invited so many people, considering." "Considering what?" Serafina asked, but Darian's hand shot out, gripping her arm. "We need to go," he said urgently. "Now." But Celestine stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Ask him about the letters, dear. Ask him about the ones he intercepted." Darian's face went white as paper. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Don't I?" Celestine pulled out her phone, showing them a photo of handwritten envelopes. "Evangeline tried to contact you, Serafina, for months after you left. She wanted to explain, to tell you why her son became so damaged." That evening, Serafina sat in Kale's apartment, staring at the photo Celestine had sent to her phone. Dozens of letters, all addressed to her, all bearing Evangeline's elegant handwriting. Letters she'd never received. "He intercepted them," she whispered. "All this time, I thought she didn't care that I'd left. I thought she'd chosen his side." Kale set down 2 cups of tea, his expression grim. "What did the letters say?" "Celestine only showed me one." Serafina's voice broke as she read from her phone. She wrote about Darian's father, how he left when Darian was 12, but not before spending years tearing down everyone in the family. She said Darian learned to hurt people before they could hurt him, and she was desperate to help him unlearn those patterns. "That doesn't excuse what he did to you," Kale said firmly. "No, it doesn't. But it explains it." Serafina looked up at him, this man who'd shown her what love without conditions looked like. She wrote that she prayed every day I'd find the courage to leave, because she couldn't bear watching him destroy someone as pure as me. Her phone rang. Darian's name flashed on the screen. "Don't answer it," Kale warned. But Serafina was already swiping to accept. "What do you want?" "We need to talk." Darian's voice was rough, broken. "Please. There are things you don't understand." "I understand perfectly. You stole your mother's letters to me. You let me believe she didn't care. She was dying, Sarah. She was confused, saying things that weren't true. I was protecting you from." "From what?" "From knowing that someone loved me enough to want better for me." Serafina's voice rose. "You couldn't stand the thought that your own mother saw through you." The line went quiet for a long moment. Then, "Meet me tomorrow. The old coffee shop on 5th Street. 1 hour. Please." The coffee shop was nearly empty when Serafina arrived. Darian sat in their old corner booth, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His usual polished appearance was gone, replaced by rumpled clothes and hollow eyes. "You came," he said, standing as she approached. "I came alone." She didn't sit down. "Say what you need to say." I loved you. The words came out broken, desperate. I still love you. Everything I said, everything I did, I was terrified of losing you. My father left because he said my mother was too needy, too emotional. I thought if I could make you stronger, make you less vulnerable. You thought you'd break me down and rebuild me. Serafina's laugh was bitter. That's not love, Darian. That's control. I know that now. He pulled out a thick envelope, his hands shaking. Mom's last letter. She made me promise to give it to you after the funeral. She said if I didn't, she'd haunt me for the rest of my life. Serafina took the envelope, her heart racing. Inside was a single sheet of paper, covered in Evangeline's increasingly shaky handwriting. My dearest Serafina, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. I need you to know that leaving my son was the bravest thing you ever did. He is broken in ways I couldn't fix, hurt in ways that made him hurt you. But you, my darling girl, are whole. You are worthy of a love that builds you up instead of tearing you down. I've enclosed something that belongs to you. Something Darian took when you left, thinking it would bring you back. Forgive an old woman her interference, but some things are too important to leave to chance. Be happy, my dear. Be gloriously, unapologetically happy. With all my love. Evangeline. At the bottom of the envelope was a small velvet box. Inside was the promise ring she'd lost during the move, the one she'd accused Darian of throwing away in anger. You kept it, Serafina whispered, staring at the ring. All this time, you let me think you'd destroyed it. I couldn't let it go. Darian's voice was barely audible. Just like I couldn't let you go. When you left, I hired a private investigator to watch you. I knew about Kale within a week of you meeting him. The blood drained from Serafina's face. You've been stalking me. I needed to know you were safe. I needed to know if you were really happier without me. His laugh was hollow. Turns out, you were. His everything I should have been. You're sick. Serafina stood, backing away from the table. This is sick, Darian. You don't get to monitor my life because you can't handle rejection. I know how it sounds. But I'm getting help now. Real help. And I'm going to tell you something that might change everything. Nothing you say will change anything. Kale isn't who you think he is. The words hit her like ice water. What? The investigator I hired, he found things. Things about your perfect fiancé that you need to know. You're lying. Am I? Darian pulled out a manila folder, his hand steady for the first time since she'd arrived. Kale Moreau isn't just an architect, Sarah. He's a professional. He targets vulnerable women, gains their trust, then disappears with their money. You're not his first, and you won't be his last. That's insane. But even as she said it, doubts crept in. How had Kale appeared in her life so perfectly, so exactly when she needed him? How had he known exactly what to say, what to do? Look at the photos. With trembling hands, she opened the folder. Inside were surveillance photos of Kale with other women, all of them looking at him with the same adoring expression she wore. All of them wearing engagement rings eerily similar to hers. Serafina burst into Kale's apartment, the manila folder clutched in her white-knuckled grip. He was in the kitchen, preparing dinner as if nothing had changed. We need to talk, she said, her voice deadly quiet. Kale looked up, and for just a moment, she saw something flicker across his face. Calculation, maybe, or resignation. About what? About Amanda Chen. About Isabella Rodriguez. About Sarah Kim. She dropped the folder on the counter, photos scattering across the marble surface. About how many other women you've done this to. He stood very still, his storm-grey eyes never leaving her face. Darian showed you these. So you don't deny it. What would be the point? Kale's voice was calm, almost gentle. You've already made up your mind. Made up my mind about what? That you're a con artist. That everything between us has been a lie. Not everything. He moved closer, and she noticed for the first time how predatory his grace was, how calculated his every gesture. I did fall in love with you, Sarah. That was never part of the plan. The plan. Her voice cracked. What plan? Darian hired me. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Serafina felt the world tilt, her legs suddenly unable to support her weight. What? He found out about my business and hired me to get close to you, to make you fall in love with me, then break your heart so badly you'd go running back to him. Kale's smile was sad, genuine. He wanted you to understand what real betrayal felt like. You're lying. But she knew he wasn't. The pieces were falling into place with horrible clarity. I'm not. Check your bank accounts, Sarah. Check your credit cards. I haven't taken a cent from you. I couldn't go through with it. But you took his money. I took his money, yes. A lot of it. And I was going to disappear with it, start over somewhere else. But then I really fell in love with you, and everything changed. Serafina's phone rang while she sat in her car outside Kale's apartment, her world crumbling around her. Darian's name flashed on the screen. Did you confront him? His voice was eager, hungry for her pain. You hired him. She was surprised by how steady her voice sounded. You hired him to destroy me. I hired him to show you what you'd lost when you left me, to make you understand that no one would ever love you the way I did. By having someone fake love me. By having someone show you what fake love looks like, so you'd appreciate the real thing when you had it. Serafina laughed, the sound sharp and broken. The real thing? You call what you did to me real love? I call it honest love. I never pretended to be perfect. I never lied about who I was. You just tried to control me, manipulate me, break me down until I was nothing. I tried to make you stronger. You tried to make me smaller. The words exploded out of her. You tried to make me so small that I'd never realize I deserved better. And now you know you don't you? Darian's voice was triumphant. Now you know that the only man who could love you was paid to do it. No, Serafina said quietly. Now I know that I'm strong enough to walk away from both of you. She hung up and sat in the gathering darkness, thinking about Evangeline's letters, about the woman who'd seen her worth when she couldn't see it herself. Thinking about the locket at her throat, about the promise ring in her pocket, about all the ways people tried to own each other. Then she started the car and drove toward the one person who might have answers, Celestine Ravencrest. 6 months later, Serafina stood in the art gallery, watching people admire her paintings. The exhibition was titled Resurrection, and every piece told a story of rising from ashes, of finding light in darkness. They're beautiful, Celestine said, appearing at her elbow. Evangeline would be proud. I hope so. Serafina touched the locket at her throat. I never thanked you properly for showing me those letters. You didn't need to. Seeing you flourish is thanks enough. Celestine's eyes sparkled with mischief. Though I must confess, I have news about your former suitors. I don't want to know. Oh, but you do. Darian's business is under investigation for fraud. Turns out he's been embezzling from his clients for years. And Kale. She paused dramatically. Kale testified against him. Apparently, he kept detailed records of everything Darian asked him to do. Serafina turned to stare at her. What? He's entered witness protection. New identity, new life. But he left something for you. Celestine handed her a small envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper and a check for an enormous amount of money. Sera. This is the money Darian paid me to hurt you, plus interest. I can't undo what I did, but I can make sure you never want for anything again. Asterisk, you were right to walk away from both of us. You deserve love that doesn't come with conditions or hidden agendas. You deserve someone who sees your light and wants to make it shine brighter, not someone who wants to dim it so they can feel important. I hope someday you'll forgive me. I hope someday you'll find someone worthy of the incredible woman you are. With regret and genuine love. K. Serafina folded the letter and put it in her purse. Across the gallery, she noticed a man studying her favorite painting, a phoenix rising from flames, its wings spread wide in triumph. When he looked up and smiled, she felt something stir in her chest. Not the desperate need she'd felt with Darian, or the too perfect comfort she'd found with Kale. Something new, something real. She walked over to him, her heart open and unafraid. "It's beautiful," he said, gesturing to the painting. "There's so much strength in it." "Thank you," she said, extending her hand.
"I'm Serafina."
"Orion," he replied, taking her hand gently. "And I have to say, anyone who can paint resurrection like that must have lived it." She smiled, feeling the truth of it in her bones. "I have. And I'm still living it." Thanks for watching. What did you think of Serafina's journey? Have you ever had to rise from your own ashes? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, remember, you are never too broken to be beautiful.